Hello, everyone. Welcome to this Thursday, May 30th edition of Kubernetes Community Weekly. This is our usual show. My name is Paris. We will have a actual condensed post-KubeCon EU celebration today. We do have two SIG updates. We have release, we have a few announcements, and then we'll be on the road. So I'm estimating 30 minutes that everybody will get their time back. Cool. All right. First up today is the release section with Claire. We actually don't have a demo, but also a quick shout out to get some more demos. If you are out there and know someone that should be doing a demo here for us, bring them. Have them fill out the agenda, and then they can have 10 minutes of our time. Cool. But Claire, you ready for release updates?
Yes. So the release is now in week 8 of our cycle. Today, end of day Pacific, so 6 p.m. Pacific time is going to be our code freeze for 115. So anyone that has any open items they are trying to get into the 115 release, today is the day to get your code complete. And then tomorrow is our docs PR milestone. So if you have an enhancement going into 115, tomorrow is the deadline to have a PR open. It doesn't need to be finished. It doesn't need to be merged, but the PR does need to exist for the docs team to know to track it. And I think yesterday during our burn down, our docs lead, Barney, did mention that they've only got, of the 43 enhancements being tracked, about 28 responding whether or not they need docs. So if you've got anything that is on the 115 train, make sure to get those docs PRs open if needed. So yeah, tracking for 43 enhancements. As of this morning, of those 43, about 23 were at risk for making code freeze today, just based on PRs needing to be merged. So we'll see how that number shakes out as we get towards the end of day, early tomorrow. In addition to that, starting with burn down, we're now going into colors that each of our different leads will be given. I gave the color red after Monday's call, given our CI signal team is feeling slightly red since there are still jobs failing on master blocking, and we've got 11 jobs failing on master informing. Our CI signal team believes the cause for most of those 11 failures is due to a new core DNS version, and they've got SIG cluster lifecycle looking at that failure to try and resolve it. And then for the one failing job on master blocking, SIG Network has an open PR that they're hoping to merge, which should resolve that failure. And then since our meeting yesterday, I checked test grid this morning, and we have 2 new failures for vSphere conformance tests. So I will follow up with CI Signal to see if they're checking in with the vSphere SIG to check on those conformance tests. And then some upcoming milestones. We're going to start daily burn downs next week. If anyone is interested in attending, it should be through the usual Zoom. And then our docs deadline for PRs ready to review. That basically means our docs PRs should be merged at that point so the docs team can review them and start getting our docs ready, is June 4th. And then we're going to have the beta 2 cut on June 5th. I know that we've seen some chatter in Slacks on email threads around some pain points with the release. If anyone has any feedback that they'd like to share, we do have a 115 retro doc that I'd love to see stuff get added to there so we can discuss it during the retro and then give feedback to the next leads for the 116 and then later release cycles. So if you have feedback on the release, please put it in the retro doc. And I believe that is our release update for the week. Are there any questions?
Claire, that was a good update, though. Heard it here first, y'all. Get your stuff in. Get it in. Thanks, Claire. All right. I did have a really quick contributor tip of the week. A lot of our SIGs are starting to do how-to videos. What this means is they're doing like how to do triage, how to do code reviews, things along those lines. If you've been looking to contribute to other SIGs in other ways, for example, if you're looking to contribute to API machinery as a reviewer, but feel like it's always just been too complex, documentation's too complex, these are great sessions for you. Join the SIG of interests mailing lists because things like that are going out in calendar invites. For instance, API Machinery is doing a live bug scrub this Friday. They do them every week now. So you can see what they look for and how they triage issues and things like that. So you can jump in and help them out. So SIG updates. Speaking of SIGs, Jonathan, I saw you on the line for Service Catalog. You are up first.
Hey everybody. So hopefully it should be pretty quick today. In the past couple weeks and months for SIG Service Catalog, we've had a lot of exciting stuff going on. Most notably, we really cut 0.20. So that's still a beta release of Service Catalog, but it's the GA of namespace resources. So that was a big feature release for us that just went out shortly before KubeCon. Now that that's out, we're looking forward to what we're going to do in the immediate future. And the biggest thing probably in that realm is CRDs. So Service Catalog is kind of an old project. It was started before CRDs existed, so they weren't really available for us to use. But they're pretty much a perfect fit for what we're trying to accomplish. So we want to transition them and get rid of our API server. So that's what's on. That's the main topic for our next milestone, 0.30. We're working on a couple things in support of that. Notably, we're going to move our repositories over to Kubernetes SIGs. So we're still in Kubernetes Incubator, which is kind of deprecated at this point. So we want to move over to the new place. And then also in support of that, there's a whole bunch of reorganization of teams and such in the GitHub organizations and all that has to happen. Also in support of that, to maintain backwards compatibility, we have to continue supporting API server version for 9 months past the release of CRDs. So in order to support both those simultaneously, we're going to have to revamp our entire CI pipeline and all of that. So that's thing number 2 that has to happen. Thing number 3 is we're going to rewrite our docs substantially. I don't know if I'd say completely, but that's the other big thing we're trying to get done this release is rewrite our docs. We already have a doc website up and running, but some of the stuff on there is pretty outdated at this point. Yeah, so that's where we're going. There has been a bit of a shakeup in the membership of the SIG since last time. So as of today, Shay Boyd, I believe, has officially left the project. So he's gone out the door. So I'm the only remaining chair of the SIG. We have some new people from SAP who've been participating a lot, and they're just about to make maintainer. I'm waiting until we move the orgs and all that, so we don't have to do it twice. But we are looking for new people, including a new chair. I'm not really sure if there's an official process for that sort of thing. We're kind of in new territory because a bunch of the companies that were previously contributing to the SIG aren't any longer. But if you're interested in contributing, if you're interested in sharing, just helping out with organizational stuff, please feel free to get in contact with me. Right. This is sort of a sub-project update. So as part of moving the repositories, there are a couple external repositories that Service Catalog depends on for various reasons. Like a client lib that was previously, it's owned, I think, under one of the previous contributors' personal accounts. So we're going to be taking ownership of those and moving those into Kubernetes SIGs. But that's just more organizational stuff that has to get moved around. We're also taking ownership of a service broker. So this isn't necessarily strictly related to Service Catalog. But a previous contributor to Service Catalog, Carolyn Vince-Like, wrote a nifty little service broker called Mini Broker, which just pushes Helm charts for like MySQL databases and stuff. But it's a lot more feature complete because it like actually does stuff. So we want to use it in our docs and all of our use cases and stuff than the previous sort of dummy broker we were using. So we got in touch with her, and she's interested in contributing it. So we're probably going to take ownership of that as well and move it into Kubernetes SIGs. Yeah. So that's pretty much it for me. What went on, what's going forward, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think that's it.
Sounds good, Jonathan. Any questions for Jonathan or directed for SIG service catalog? All right. Sounds like there's lots of changes. And if you're looking to get involved, y'all, good way to. All right.
So, right. So yeah, sorry, just one more thing. If you're looking to get involved, like I said, you can talk to me, or you could just show up. Our weekly SIG meetings are Mondays at 1 p.m. PST. So yeah, if you just show up and introduce yourself, that'd be also a good way to get into it.
Cool. Thanks, Jonathan. And then who's on the line for IBM Cloud? I see Sadev. Sadev, are you running the show today?
Yep. Hey, Parish. I just joined. So yeah, I had another presentation. So,
okay.
I'm here. Yep. Let me start sharing. And thanks for having us at the in the last in the SIG. So that was helpful. Can you see my screen?
Yep. All is good on my end.
Oh, perfect. Thanks. And well, hello, everyone. My name is Sadir Zala. I'm one of the SIG lead for SIG IBM Cloud. We also have Khalid Ahmed and Richard Thies, co-leads. They both, I think they are on the call as well. So we'll be providing updates for the past quarter. One of the most exciting thing happened with the SIG lately was the new sub project we have created. This was the first sub project for the SIG as well. It's called Kubernetes Cluster API Provider IBM Cloud. You probably all are familiar with the Kubernetes Cluster API project, right? That's the main project was created to create declarative Kubernetes style APIs for managing the Kubernetes cluster. So the Cluster API Provider IBM Cloud project is an implementation of from the IBM Cloud provider side, and other providers also have their own implementation. You can find this project and other providers project all on the github.com Kubernetes/SIGs. The other thing which was a work in progress, is still work in progress. We mentioned in our last update was working on IBM Cloud Provider Interface sub project. So we already have at IBM the IBM Cloud Provider internally. There's a GitHub repo, but it's internal to IBM right now, and that's the repo the IBM Cloud Kubernetes Service IKS team uses. We already have obtained internal approval to open source the cloud provider code, and we are targeting beta release for the Kubernetes 1.16 release, considering the 1.15 is a short release cycle. Just last week, we had KubeCon Europe in Barcelona, and here are some of the things which I mentioned in regards to the participation from IBM Cloud SIG. So we had a marathon 80 minutes session, combined intro and deep dive. The bullet is hyperlink, and the charts are, the link is provided in the agenda as well, so you can access it. But it was a good session. We pretty much used 70 minutes, 65 to 70 minutes. So that was more than what I thought, but seems like combining them two was a good idea. It was a good interactions, good questions, and nobody took a break in between, so that was good. We also had a SIG IBM Cloud face-to-face meeting as part of the Contributor Summit. So thanks to Paris and George and other folks for that time, as part of the Contributor Summit. So I think along with us, 10 or 12 other SIGs also participated for the face-to-face meeting. Luckily, our time was in the morning, and the SIG Cloud Provider time for face-to-face meeting was in the afternoon. So I had, I was there as part of the SIG Cloud Provider discussions as well. A very good time. We talk about like almost 2 hours. talking about the updates on cloud provider itself, and from our SIG and reps from other SIG from Google, VMware, or OpenStack, and other SIGs. We also participated in SIG meet and greet. I love that 30 minutes or 1 hour of time. We had at least 3 new folks who were totally new to the new contributors, basically, right? Join us and learn more about the SIG and how they can contribute to the SIG. Besides that, we have our bi-weekly meetings regularly, unless we have to cancel it for any reasons like KubeCon or some other conflicting events. And all the videos are on the link provided here for the YouTube. Plans for upcoming cycles. So as I mentioned, we have our first sub-project created. It's been like 3 to 4 weeks now. So we will be focusing on growing the project with the new contributor base, right? We would like folks to contribute. So if you're interested, please take a look at the project. It's like newly created projects. The code base is not so big. It's easy to understand what's out there, right? Some of the good thing to start as a new contributor to contribute to the project. And if you have any questions on the project, you can reach out to myself or any other SIG leads. We'll be focusing on having our IBM Cloud Provider interface, out on external GitHub. The interface was primarily on the Kubernetes control manager architecture, but we are working on moving to cloud control manager architecture. So that work is in progress. We also doing some of the refactoring, considering we'll have it out on externally. And then the IKS team is also working on some of the changes they need for internal build process once we have it open source. There is a link here for the issue related to have a cap for this out of tree IBM Cloud Provider repo. And we also, continue participating with the SIG Cloud Provider to consolidate all the cloud provider SIGs under one umbrella. That will be the SIG Cloud Provider. Other projects, other SIGs, the cloud provider SIGs are moving as a sub project. So we will be continue working on that discussions, and as it happens. I think based on my discussion with the cloud provider, SIG leads, Andrew and others leads, and other folks in Barcelona, the face-to-face meeting, I think we are shooting sometime in July, approximately, to have this happen. Other than that, where to find us? There is links for README to know more about SIGs. You can reach out to us on the Slack or this mailing list. And that's it from me, Paris.
Awesome, Sadev. Does anybody have any questions for Sadev or SIG IBM Cloud? All right. Told you it was going to be a quick show today. Thank you, Sadev.
Yep, thank you.
All right. Now we are on to one of my favorite parts, the announcements and the shout outs. This is where all the fun is buried. First shout out, I know Josh can't be with us right now, but Josh Burkus is planning the Shanghai Contributor Summit. And Josh and Pooja are both looking for current contributors to help out on site as well as with content. If you are a current contributor listening right now and you are going to Shanghai, please reach out to Josh or Pooja on Slack. Their info is in the doc as well. They really need your help. Thanks, y'all. Also, Meet Our Contributors is next Wednesday. We are doing, we're sticking with the 7:30 a.m. Pacific time slot. We get hundreds of folks that watch that slot. And we are going to cancel the 1 p.m. Pacific and look for a new time. That new time will most likely be in the evening Pacific to shake things up a little bit. And this is, again, mentoring on demand. We have upstream folks all the way up to approvers on a line asking and answering questions from a wide array of topics, whether it's self-care to how do I get this pull request merged. You can ask anything and everything in the Meet Our Contributors Slack channel. Also watch past episodes in the agenda. Cool stuff. And then shout outs. We've got a ton of shout outs this week, lots to do with KubeCon last week. So mega thanks, just a blanket statement to everybody that put on KubeCon and everybody that came out to KubeCon. It was an awesome time, and I'm sure everyone would agree. Hannes wanted to shout out Tim Pepper for consistently being a great context giver, helper, recruiter, describer, and mentor. How important. Thank you, Tim. Sumi for publishing our packages, especially on not so convenient occasions. And Catherine Berry for jumping in, figuring it out, and fixing our test grid. Or test grid config or something else. Still not sure what the exact problem was. Issue. Ben wants to shout out Aoji, Olav, and PJ, PB, and J, and anyone I missed for helping answers lots of questions in kind channel. Especially appreciate now while we have an influx of new members and I'm jet lagged after KubeCon. Thank you all. Ben also wants to shout out to me, Tim Pepper, for organizing, and Castro for hosting the networking and mentoring sessions at KubeCon. Really awesome experience. And Gwen would like to give a huge thanks to Deb Giles for making the Contributors Summit run smooth like butter, especially given some unique challenges with the location. And I'd like to give a shout out to everybody that participated, led tables, or did anything with the diversity lunch. We had over 200 people there, pair programming, getting hands-on Kubernetes cluster support, venting about all types of Kubernetes challenges, and making camaraderie and community amongst us. And it was wonderful. Thank you all so much for being a fantastic community. And to all the mentoring session participants as well. We did pod style mentoring, yes, pun intended, and it was super fun. Thank you to everybody for being amazing leaders in this awesome community. Without you, it would not be here. All right, and that ends our show today. Do we have any other shout outs that were not listed that anyone wants to take some time out and shout out? If not, that ends our show. I give you a lot of time back.
Thanks.
All right.
Bye.